Thank you again for staying with us. Professor Lai Olorode joins us this morning. He is former National Commissioner with INEC, and he joins us from Osun State, Southwest Nigeria. Thanks for joining us this morning, Prof. A good number of issues that have been raised, especially concerning the promises of INEC, are again on the front burner. And there are risks that many people say it could significantly affect the turnout of voters in the next election coming up this Saturday. How significantly would you say that trust has been breached, if it has? And how would you say that INEC has so far addressed it and attempted to instill that confidence back so we can have a much larger turnout on Saturday?
Well, to a great extent, the February 25 elections will go down as one of the best elections in recent times in this country. And I have my reasons for saying this. Number one is that it's about the most competitive election that we've ever had. In 2015, in 2011, Jonathan defeated Buhari by almost 10 million votes. In 2015, Buhari defeated Jonathan by over 2 million plus, almost 3 million or so. In the 2023 February election, 2019 election, the margin of defeat was larger than 2015. In the February 25 election, the margin of defeat between the president-elect APC and PDP was just about 1 point or thereabout. And you can see the spread of votes. In 2019 rather, Buhari had 1/4 of the votes in 27 states of the Federation. Jonathan had about 26. In this election, Labour had at least 1/4 of the votes in about 12 states. Applies to the did in so what I'm saying is not look at voter education as well, just about 1% compared to 2019 when we had about 2.6 wasted votes. And when you look at the party hegemony, you come to realize that the dominant political parties, because of crisis within those parties, they lost grants to new political parties, particularly NMPP, the New Nigerian Political Party, and also the Labour Party. The Labour Party was a party coming from nowhere, but Peter Obi came out and breathed a lot of life into that political party, to the extent that it was struggling with the leading political parties. So for me, the party individuals that are believed to be more ethical, they are having a kind of field day in the last election. And what are the good, what are the ugly and the good side of this election? One is the role of technology. When Buhari won the 2015 election, he, to a very large extent, eulogized the role of technology. When we were using the card reader, compared to the use of beavers, in spite of all the criticism against beavers, it sanitized the electoral process. Voter turnout, actually, we didn't do well in the last election compared to 2015 and 2019, where it was about 40 something.
My sincere apologies for butting in. If you can hear me, Prof. If you can hear me, Prof, my apologies. The stats of this election will definitely still come out and will be very functional for us in future elections. But I'm just wondering how you think these issues that you have raised address the challenge of likely voter apathy and increased likely voter apathy on Saturday, given what many consider a disappointment, even though you say it's one of the best elections so far.
Yeah, usually the presidential election tended to draw more voters out than any other election. I think we're not going to have governorship election in about 6 states or thereabouts. I will believe that looking, every political party wants to see what it can gain, and would therefore should be able to mobilize voters strongly more than they were able to do in the presidential election. I'm sure Labour Party want to enhance it, we want to consolidate on its gains. The same thing, APC want to have a better outing because it suffered tremendously because Labour never allowed in places, in states where Labour was very strong.
Prof, the challenge here is concerning the technology that INEC deployed. Beavers, yes, it performed, but when it comes to getting the election results to the IRF portal, that is one thing that many people think, unless someone has to, convince them otherwise, that INEC dropped the ball. How do we ensure that that does not affect turnout on this Saturday? And what's the assurance we have that this time around, the IRF portal will perform as much and as optimally as expected?
I think with the concession that INEC was able to obtain from the court, that is having enough time to go and reconfigure the beavers. I would want to believe strongly that INEC cannot hide under any guise, under any excuse that it hadn't got enough time to reconfigure the beavers. And I think looking at some of the technological failure that it had on February 15, INEC had held several meetings, and I'm sure it should be able to give us a better outing with regards to the role of technology in this election. I believe strongly there's no other way to go in this country because INEC had no control over the Ad-Hoc staff. It had no control over wayward politicians who want to subvert the process at all costs. I think it is beyond INEC. INEC need partnership of the politics and of the city. Cannot be the fault of causing skirmishes in the field. We all have to agree that we want good elections. INEC alone cannot deliver good elections to this country.
Yeah, Prof, it's interesting that you say that INEC had no control over the presiding officers, and you say specifically that it had no control over wayward staff. Speaking of which, do you suspect, which is the commentary that we're hearing, particularly from the concerned political parties and other Nigerians, do you suspect that something untoward may have happened in between the time when the presiding officers were transferring the election results and the time that the election results were actually transmitted to the IRF portal? And does this cast a doubt, a shadow of doubt, on the election results that were transmitted, that were delayed before they were transmitted to the portal?
No, what I suspected is this, and I've commented this on several platforms. INEC had promised more than what it can deliver. And it's too late in the day for it to moderate how it had stirred people's expectations. I don't see any reason why INEC should be in a hurry. It had introduced technology in all fronts, at the back end, at the front end. We don't even have that base, that infrastructural base to be able to do that. You and I know I've been trying to put on my video today to have this discussion. I've been on it since yesterday, but here we are. It failed us, and I had to go on audio. So there's no need. INEC seems to be too much in a hurry to deliver credible elections. We should go step by step. Even in Europe, in countries where they control technology, they are skeptical about a wholesale introduction of technology into the electoral process. Because once it fails, you fail the entire country. It should have been piecemeal. Look, INEC should have told the country we can do so on a zonal basis. Pick a state in each of the zones and see how it goes on experimental basis. But to do wholesale deployment of technology, I think INEC, that's a tall dream, which is not.
Well, Prof, as you know, we are already there, and once we get into a space of technology, we haven't really gone back, and I don't see that happening right now. Unfortunately, we have to close at this time and hope that one of these days we'll be able to bring you back and have a more elaborate conversation with the technology, very friendly, with us. Professor Lai Oloride is a former national commissioner with INEC, and he joined us from Osun State, southwest Nigeria.